Tamriel is a land shaped by prophecy. Heroes rise, dragons fall, Daedric princes play their endless games, and the Elder Scrolls whisper fate to those brave or foolish enough to read them. But prophecy is fragile. It bends and tears. Sometimes it dies. This is the story of a world broken at its hinge point, a world where the last Dragonborn, destined savior, slayer of Alduin, hero of Skyrim, falls in Apocrypha, and in their place rises Miraak, the first Dragonborn, unbound and unstoppable. What follows is not a rebirth of the world, it is its cataloging, its dissection, its slow, suffocating end. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is the age of the first Dragonborn, a timeline where Miraak triumphs, Hermaeus Mora smiles, and Tamriel becomes a library of living nightmares. Without further ado, let us begin. This story begins at the end of a world that never ends. Apocrypha stretches infinitely in every direction, a labyrinth of whispering pages that breathe like lungs and drip ink like blood. The Dragonborn steps into the swirling arena, ready to face Miraak in a showdown of destiny. But destiny fractures. Miraak watches his challengers with eyes that have not seen the mortal world in millennia. His movements are calculated, almost as if he's bored. He has replayed this battle in his mind for centuries, breaking it down page by page, shout by shout. The Dragonborn charges in. The air burns with the crack of the Thume. But Miraak doesn't falter. He adapts. He counters. He learns. Every second, his power grows sharper, more precise, more monstrous. His shouts begin tearing through the arena walls, ripping open pages from other realms, letting screams echo through Apocrypha like the wailing of dying stars. When the Dragonborn attempts their final strike, Miraak speaks a word nobody alive should know. A word that bends fate backwards. Hermaeus Mora answers. Tendrils erupt from the ground, binding the Dragonborn mid-shout. Their soul begins to unravel, pulled apart strand by strand. Every dragon soul they ever consumed is torn out of them. Siphon the ink from parchment, Miraak absorbs it all. The Dragonborn collapses, body intact, but spirit gone. An empty shell sinking into the pages of Apocrypha, no prophecy, no savior, no hope. The last Dragonborn dies, not with fire, but with silence. When Miraak returns to Solstheim, the sky cracks. The Allmaker stones flare violently, their light shifting from green to the color of decayed oil. Villagers drop to their knees, not out of reverence, but because their minds are pulled downward like puppets with invisible strings. The Skull sense the catastrophe before anyone else. Storn's final attempt to resist Miraak ends not with his noble sacrifice, but with his utter destruction. Miraak absorbs his knowledge with the hunger of a god-starved scholar. In a single night, Solstheim falls. Not burned, not conquered, but claimed. The air becomes thick with whispers. Wolves stand motionless in the woods, heads tilted upward as if listening to commands that no mortal ear can hear. Even the ash storms change direction, swirling in spirals aligned with the temple of Miraak. A new power has returned to Nirn, a power older than the Empire, older than the dragon cult, older than mortality itself. Skyrim does not notice at first, with civil war consuming its attention. Alduin is gone, believed destroyed, unaware that his killer never returned. But the signs creep in. Travelers from Solstheim arrive in Windhelm speaking in riddles. Whiterun guards report seeing chanting in their dreams. Farmers near Morthal wake to find strange black runes carved into their barn walls, written in languages they don't know how to read, yet somehow understand. The Greybeards attempt to call the Dragonborn. Their voices echo across the world, shaking mountains, scattering clouds, yet no answer returns. For the first time since Tiber Septim, High Hrothgar goes silent. Arngeir closes his eyes and whispers a truth that terrifies him. The Dragonborn is gone, but the voice is not. Then the dragons come. Dozens at first, then hundreds. But these dragons do not act like Alduin's wild feral army. They fly in formation, organized, disciplined, an intelligent swarm guided by a single mind. That is Miraak's. The sky above Winterhold erupts into flame and ice as the city is torn apart in minutes. The college attempts a defense, but Miraak arrives personally, unraveling wards and spells like loose threads. Mages scream as their grimoires burst open, pages melding into their flesh. Winterhold becomes a ruin of charred stone and living books. Whiterun prepares for battle, believing it faces another dragon attack. Guards man the walls, citizens hide in cellars, and the companions ready their blades. But when Miraak comes, there is no roar, no flame, no army. He simply walks. Every step he takes sends ripples through reality, bending the air like heated glass. When he reaches the gates, he speaks. Not a shout, but a command layered with the souls of dragons and mortals alike. Submit. The word spreads outward like a shockwave. Guards drop their weapons, horses collapse, children cry out as their thoughts turn into someone else's sentences. Even the winds stop moving. The companions attempt a counterattack. Aela, Farkas, Vilkas, and the Circle ignite their beast blood and transform. But Miraak studies their movements, pronounces a new word, and tears the wolf spirits out of them in seconds. Their howls fall silent. Their transformations collapse. Centuries of traditions vanish with a whisper. None of them die, but none of them remain whole. Whiterun does not fall. It kneels. When the word reaches General Tullius, he underestimates the threat. He believes Miraak is a rebel with magic, a problem, an inconvenience. He sends an entire legion north. Miraak meets them in a valley near Dawnstar. The sky turns black, not from clouds, but from vibrating ink mist dripping from invisible rifts. Soldiers begin hallucinating books opening beneath their skin. Their memories bleed out onto the snow, forming moving runes. Miraak shouts once. The entire valley collapses inward as reality folds like a page turning itself inside out. Thousands vanish. The survivors wander aimlessly, eyes etched with swirling symbols they cannot blink away. They return to Cyrodiil carrying a message written across their minds. Tamriel will be filed. Ulfric Stormcloak believes himself chosen by the gods, destined to rule Skyrim. He approaches Miraak with arrogance, convinced he can match Thu'um with Thu'um. Miraak studies him like a broken artifact. Ulfric unleashes unrelenting force. Miraak imitates it instantly, but stronger, sharper, laced with knowledge stolen from the bones of ancient dragons. When the duel ends, Ulfric is not dead. He is rewritten. Miraak turns him into a living conduit of Mora's will, a preacher of fate, a puppet with a voice that is no longer his own. Windhelm becomes a shrine to silence. Over the next year, Miraak tightens his grip. Dragons patrols the skies in perfect formations. Cities are converted into archives. Libraries expand into monstrous labyrinths. People speak in monotone fragments, repeating words that don't belong to them. In Whiterun, Gildergreen twists into a blackened, ink-dripping spiral. In Riften, the canals fill with pages sealed with eyes that blink only when no one is looking. Markarth becomes a monument to dissection, of spells, thoughts, of memories. Even the divines begin to feel distant, their temples cold and powerless. Priests sense a suffocating presence around their prayers, like their words are being stolen before they reach the heavens. Across the sea, Cyrodiil braces for war, but finds its generals unable to remember their own strategies for longer than a day. Black letters appear on their skin, rewriting their plans each dawn. Hammerfell resists longest, Blackmarsh resists hardest, Elsewhere is consumed first, its moons distorted into spirals of shifting ink. The Thalmor attempt to strike Miraak directly. Their greatest mages vanish, reappearing days later as hollow scribes feverishly writing prophecies that contradict one another. Across Tamriel, all knowledge bends towards a single purpose: Miraak's catalog. Despite his power, Miraak is not free. He is still being watched. Hermaeus Mora coils invisibly around him, binding him with threads of fate so subtle that even Miraak's vast intellect cannot unravel them. The first Dragonborn finally realizes the truth. His victory was never a gift, it was a transaction, and the price was his will. The more he reshapes Skyrim, the more pages appear beneath his feet. Pages he didn't write. Pages documenting his actions before he takes them. Pages revealing decisions he hasn't yet made. Mora is not guiding him. He is predicting him. Miraak, the arrogant, rebellious, brilliant tyrant, has become just another chapter in a more infinite book. His reign continues, yet his soul diminishes. Years pass, prophecy dissolves, destiny unravels, the Elder Scrolls grow silent. With no Dragonborn, Alduin was never permanently defeated. His essence lingers, trapped, but not destroyed. And as Miraak's empire grows, the World Eater begins to stir again. Not as a ruler, but as a weapon Hermaeus Mora intends to examine, study, and dissect. And yet somewhere deep in Apocrypha, on a shelf that no mortal or Daedra visits, lies a single closed book. A book with no title. It contains the story of the Dragonborn who failed. A story Miraak refuses to open because he fears one thing more than death, a destiny he can't read. And so the world turns under the sky of dragons in ink. The first Dragonborn rules not as a tyrant of fire, but as a curator of minds. Cities become archives, people become pages, history becomes a correction rather than a memory. This is Tamriel rewritten, a realm not conquered by strength, but catalogued by knowledge. A world without heroes, destiny, and a world without a Dragonborn. And that is the end of this alternate timeline on what if Miraak defeated the Dragonborn in the events of Skyrim. If you enjoyed this journey into a darker Elder Scrolls timeline, let me know what other alternative timelines or lore topics you'd like me to cover. And if you want a part 2, there are some topics I can expand to on this particular video. For example, the rebellion against Miraak and Hermaeus Mora. I can craft the next chapter of this doomed world. And consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Other than that, this is Enzo signing out, and I will see you all soon.